All right, here we go. Rapid fire week in review in the NFL. We're going to talk about every single NFL game, pausing on a couple of the games that I think are most impactful. We're going to jump straight in. Thursday night game. I haven't really talked about this on the channel. The Raiders just beat the pants off the Chargers. Brandon Staley gets fired after the game. Um, wow. I mean, it was just bad, right? I mean, you got Herbert's done for the year. Um, and that defense for the Chargers it just got shelled. The offense couldn't do anything. I mean, we're really you're looking at 42-0 at half, right? The Chargers ended up scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter. It, yeah, okay. At that point, it was over. We're looking at 56-7. That's really the score. Easton's numbers get a little better there in the fourth quarter with some plays, but um yeah, who did the Chargers pick up? I think everybody is saying, the obvious pickup would be Jim Harbaugh, Michigan's coach, but I don't know if that will happen. I don't know where Jim is at. I would guess I predicted back with a lot of this NCAA stuff that's been happening with Michigan, Harbaugh being suspended a total of 6 games this season, I believe it is, that he would want out. He'd say, you know what, enough of this college football thing. I'm going to go to the NFL. He's had success in the NFL. He's a surefire hire, I think. He's worked everywhere he's coached. But he also wears on some people. Now, Michigan, though, there's extra ties there. He seems to still like it with Michigan. And the other thing is, and we talked about this earlier, and a lot of people were talking about this when the second suspension came out. The way Michigan University has been posturing, has been fighting the NCAA on these things, has been fighting the Big Ten on these things, has been arguing and kind of putting this and marketing this as Michigan against the world. They're standing by Harbaugh through it all and continually defending him. I think I agree with, I think it was Joel Klatt mentioned that he believed, again, not off of any real basis of talking to anyone, but that kind of posturing, I would agree, it does imply potentially that Harbaugh told the university, if you defend me, if we work this out, I will stay, right? I will stay more than just this season, because if he wasn't going to be there beyond this season, if he either didn't say anything or told the team, "Hey, I'm moving to the NFL. I'm done with this. This is stupid," or if there was that general feeling from the administrators, I don't know if they would spend so much time defending him. I think they might defend it a little bit, but participating in the extra hearings and trying to get the suspensions removed, and I mean, there's multiple ways you can play the marketing, and I think the way they played it implies that they have full expectations that Harbaugh will be back. Does that mean he won't change his mind? No, he might. Is the Chargers job a really great job? Better than a Michigan job? I don't know. Herbert is a solid quarterback. I have questions whether we should put him at the elite level yet, but he is absolutely a franchise guy, and with the right coach, I mean, I'd say Herbert's better than Tua. Tua got the right coach and looks great, is winning some games. I think with a Jim Harbaugh upgrade, the Chargers, I don't think the roster's that bad. I mean, they're a little expensive on defense, I think. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they're always hurt. But you can go pick up some wide receivers in the draft, get some young talent in there, and yeah, move on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do think, we talk offensive, defensive coaches. What does Herbert need? I think you really have to just go with what Herbert needs. You're not moving off of Justin Herbert. So Go get an offensive-minded coach or just a good, solid coach. I don't know if you would call Jim Harbaugh really a great offensive mind, but he does know how to build a staff, and he does know how to win with a lot of different systems, right? He got Colin Kaepernick to a Super Bowl. That's pretty impressive. Imagine what he would do with Justin Herbert. I think that could be good. And his connection, we've seen a couple guys come from college that don't do well in the pros, but this is a proven commodity. He is the best coach available if he is available. I just don't think he is. So we'll have to see what the Chargers do. I thought after last season's playoff collapse from the Chargers against the Jags, I thought that was the end of Staley. I don't know why he was brought back this year. Nothing against the guy. It wasn't working in Los Angeles. So kind of surprised he made it this far, honestly. So that was one we saw coming, and he is fired. Got an interim coach. We'll see how that head coaching goes. Good on the Raiders, for having some wild few years here, struggling a lot. Aiden O'Connell was somebody they liked in the preseason. I remember talking about him. So good on them. Good for them. It's still not like a playoff team or anything, I don't think. So we can move on to the next game. This one was wild, right? We got an overtime game here. Vikings, Bengals. Yeah. Wow. Bengals, 21 points in the fourth quarter to come storming back. Tie the game up and then kick a field goal to win it in an overtime. Very impressive. Jake Browning has been really quite solid. It's the year of the backup quarterback. It really is. And Jake Browning's been incredibly productive. Incredibly productive. Pretty exciting for the Bengals. Got their season to 8-6. When Burrow went down, not a lot of hope. Browning's come in and played very well. Concerns maybe about potential injuries to Chase, as he's been a little banged up recently. But man, what a finish by Higgins, right? Get 2 of the touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and that last touchdown in the last seconds of the game was quite impressive. Bengals look like a playoff team to me. It looks like they're gonna be able to do it. We said a few weeks ago their games lined up really well with a lot of borderline playoff teams and teams that they could beat and push out of the playoffs, with the Steelers having a bit of a slide and the Bengals now playing the Steelers again next week. If the Bengals win next week, it's starting to really feel like they are the playoff team that we would have expected with Joe Burrow, just now with Jake Browning. Now, are they the same team? Are they a AFC Championship Super Bowl contender team? I don't think we can quite put them in, but this team's finding ways to win, and you got to give them credit for that. So impressed there with the Bengals. Disappointing loss a bit out for the Vikings. Colts Steelers. This was a huge game with playoff implications. The Colts get the win. Big win for them. The Steelers offense is just, terrible. And I've seen some talk of Mike Tomlin getting fired, or maybe it's time to move on. I don't think so. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Here's 7-7. Calm down. Calm down. Like, the people talking about, Bill Belichick, maybe it's time to move on from him. Sure. He's not 7-7 fighting for a playoff spot this season, right? You can't compare the two. They need some help on offense. They're running Mitch Trubisky. And I know people want to say, Mitch Trubisky made it to the playoffs with a good coach, But it's a different team, a different division, a different time, a different coach. This is ridiculous. Mitch Trubisky is not a playoff quarterback. He was run out of town. Everybody wanted to get rid of him. And Tomlin's a great coach. I'm not panicking over Tomlin here. I don't understand why people are saying get rid of him. Doesn't make any sense to me. Great job on the Colts, though, to get this win. Now, unfortunately for them, they got beat by the Bengals, who they're now vying with a playoff spot for. So that tiebreaker is not necessarily in their favor. Hence why I'm leaning towards the Bengals to get in. Now, will the Colts be able to also squeak in? Maybe. We'll have to see. Broncos, Lions. All right. this was a bit of a trend for me this week. I feel like last week was a bit chaotic. This week maybe answered some questions for me. The Lions are a good football team. Okay, I'm not saying that they are a great football team. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. But they are a good football team. And they got back to their winning ways here. Jared Goff, 5 touchdown passes. Great. Jahmyr Gibbs, explosive. Lions, good team. Broncos, they're not that great. They just aren't. They're just not that good. Impressive that they're 7-7. I that's a big improvement over last season. They got some easier games coming down the stretch here, so I think it's going to be a very successful season for them. And coming off of the disaster that was last season, this has been a good year. Now, Russell Wilson, Sean Payton get into a bit of a shouting match. Well, really not a shouting match. Russell's just more taking it from Payton there. I don't think that's great for optics. He's been asked a lot of questions about that this week, giving the correct answers. Do the Broncos move on from Russell Wilson? I don't know. We want to talk about the cap hit, about how that contract is going to affect the team. But the longer you keep him, the more that cap hit, the more money starts getting guaranteed in that contract and the bigger cap hits you're going to hit. So is now the time to exit the Russell Wilson experiment? I don't think so. Give him another year. It's the first year of the Payton-Wilson relationship. Let them work through it. Let them see if they can make some progress. That's where I'm sitting on that. I don't think you get rid of Russ yet. You're not going to have a high draft pick at 7-7, and really there's a good chance you're going to win a few more games. So it's going to be an even better record than that at the end of the year. Don't throw Russell out now to go. I don't know who you would even be able to get in the draft as a quarterback, or like who are you trading for, really? I mean, are we trading for Kirk Cousins? Are we trading for Justin Fields? Do we really feel confident that those two would be better than Russell Wilson in a second year with Sean Payton? I don't think so. So I'm sticking with Russ. Impressed with the Lions. They get back to their winning ways. I was confused the last few weeks. They haven't played well. Last week they did not play well. This week they get back to it. Looks good. All right, the Saints. Yep. Giants, Tommy DeVito looked a little more human this week. Derek Carr looked much better. It's kind of a battle between the Saints and the Bucs right now for that playoff spot. I would lean towards the Bucs. I think they're the better team. I thought the Saints were going to run away with it this season, and I didn't think the Bucs were going to be very good. So, 2 surprises for me. Thought Derek Carr would be better this year in this system with Kamara and those receivers. It's a little disappointing season for the Saints, but they still might make the playoffs. We'll have to see how the last couple of games go. Going to be some big matchups down the stretch. Bears, Browns. Justin Fields is no longer the quarterback of the Chicago Bears at the end of this season. The experiment has failed. Move on. Just move on. Now, is this game on Justin Fields? Not necessarily. The 2 picks, though, pretty bad. Now, Flacco threw 3. Look at Joe Flacco. Look at the Browns. That defense is scary. The Browns are scary. You don't want to play the Browns. You just don't want to play the Browns. Amari Cooper out there. Joe Flacco flinging it around, looking a lot younger than he is. I mean, the dude's moving well. I watched this game. He moves well. He doesn't look old to me, so I was very impressed. Still got a cannon of an arm, still can fit it into some really tight spots. Oh boy, Falcons. What are we? Wow. Yeah. Okay. that is that game. Bucks. Baker Mayfield with a perfect passer rating. Wow. Dude's balling this year. Every once in a while. He's a bit inconsistent, but this is why I think the Bucks are going to be better than the Saints this season, and I think the Bucks get the playoff bid. Packers, yeah, they're a very young team. They seem to be a little boom or bust. I think you can give Jordan Love another year. There has been some improvement over the course of the season. And you're too good to go draft a quarterback. So again, it's kind of the situation with Denver of like, okay, so you're going to trade for who? Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, you're going to pick him up as a free agent? Is that really what you want? I don't know that Justin Fields is that much better than Jordan Love. And Jordan Love at least has been in the system, knows the routine, knows the coaches, knows his wide receivers, and they're only going to get better together. There's a lot of young wide receivers out there. I mean, Wicks is young. If I clicked on this more player stats, you'd see the rest of the young receivers. So I think you're just kind of stuck with Jordan Love for now. Bucks, good on you. I'm going to be interested to see if you can do anything in the playoffs. I don't think so. I think they're kind of a make it into the playoffs and get knocked out immediately. Oh boy. Oh boy. What was it? 4 yards of offense for the New York Jets in the first half? Trevor Siemian, Zach Wilson, random quarterback that they found who used to play high school ball in the stands. I mean, they're just terrible on offense. I mean, Breece Hall, 12 yards. I have Breece Hall in fantasy, by the way. That one hurt. It's the first week of the playoffs, and that happens. Miserable. Dolphins are the Dolphins. Jalen Waddle played really, really well. Was unfortunate that Tyreek was hurt. That was another fantasy lineup I had. I missed that inactive. I thought he was going to play. He then didn't. That was pretty painful. Waddle has a big day. Mostert has more touchdowns, just a touchdown machine, and Tua looks fine. But to me, the only question that this answers for the Dolphins is that, yes, they do beat up on the weaker teams. Throw them against a tough opponent. I don't know if they're as good. Chiefs get the win over the Patriots. That 3-11 is why Bill Belichick is rumored to be out at the end of the season, although he doesn't want to talk about it, of course. We're on to Cincinnati is the famous line. Now every week we're on to insert team. Chiefs get back to winning. Patrick is a very good quarterback. Hilaire had a great catch. The Chiefs are going to be okay. The Chiefs are going to be okay. Again, like I said, this week was the week of kind of answering some questions. Yep, the Chiefs are going to be okay. Are they as talented as they were last year? Are they the Super Bowl favorites this year? Maybe not. Maybe not. Definitely not, in my opinion. But you start looking around, I think they're capable of beating most anybody, and it's a good football team. It just is. It's a good football team. Gutsy win by the Texans here. Honestly, the Texans have become like my favorite team this season. CJ Stroud is amazing. Although he doesn't play today, get a gutsy performance from Case Keenum. Singletary erupting for 121 yards. Awesome. You know, they come back. They were down quite a bit in the first half there. Come back in the fourth quarter in another overtime game. Very exciting. And Texans get the win. Big win from the Texans. Big win from the Texans. Was very sad to see Will Levis get hurt. That's definitely a disappointing blow to the Titans, who I think we're kind of excited about really exploring Will Levis as an option for a quarterback of the future. So Texans win. Texans look like a playoff team to me. They just do. The Niners are good. The Texans may look like a playoff team. The Niners look like a Super Bowl team. The Niners are the best team in the NFL as long as they stay healthy. I find it hard to believe that anyone can beat the Niners if the Niners are healthy. And their record shows that. The 3 games, those 3 losses, yeah, they were not healthy. Debo was hurt. Every other game. They are now, I think, something like 18-0 when Purdy, McCaffrey, Debo, and Kittle are all healthy. If those playmakers are healthy, they have never lost, including in the playoffs. Niners have never lost in the last 2 years. That's a ridiculously great stat for them. They're the Super Bowl favorites as long as they get healthy. Until somebody gets hurt, I think they're the overwhelming favorites. To me, the Niners look far and away the best team in the NFL. Kyler Murray has come back with very little fanfare. Took some shots. Maybe he should have played baseball. Rams. This is one, I may have been very wrong on the Cowboys in the offseason and coming into this season with the predictions, but I was right about the Rams. I would be happy to say they may be a bunch of old guys except for Kyron. Kyron goes off again. Kupp's a little older. Stafford's a little older. Donald's getting a little older, but they're still dudes, man. And they are still winning games. Looks like a playoff team to me. All right, this is probably the game we're going to spend the most time talking about. Bills, Cowboys. This Bills team is surging. I mean, they won 31-10 and Josh Allen threw for under 100 yards. That's scary. That is terrifying. The Bills are coming off of wins against the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Now, I don't want to overreact and say the Buffalo Bills are going to be in the AFC Championship game. We will take some time. Let's see if any adjustments are made by the defenses. But these running backs, I mean, Cook, almost 200 yards rushing. Impressive. This is a scary Bills team. Cowboys. Man, as soon as I'm ready to be like, yeah, I think the Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL, they come out and do this. Dak Prescott throws for 134 yards and a pick. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what to do with the Cowboys. I don't trust them. I don't know what to do with them. They make me think, wow, I was such an idiot at the beginning of the season to think that they weren't a very good team. And then they come in and do this. And, every week the win over the Eagles is looking a little less exciting. And oh boy. Dak with a lead at home? I guess maybe I trust that. Dak on the road without a lead against a tough opponent, especially if that opponent can run the ball? That's... Oof. Very tough loss for the Cowboys, and maybe a little bit of an answer for me. Again, like I said, this week was the week of answers. Maybe the Cowboys... until they win a Super Bowl or a playoff game, I just can't put them up. The Bills looked really good, though. Ravens, Jags, this was the Sunday night game. Wow, Trevor Lawrence looked bad. And wow, did Lamar look good. Numbers aren't incredible. Trevor actually threw for more yards, significantly more yards, almost 100 more yards than Lamar, but did not look good. Made some of that, I would say, is a bit junk time at the end of the game. Lamar looks great. difficult. They lost their running back. I forget his name for the Ravens. That's a bit of a blow, but Ravens, Niners look to be the two best teams in the NFL. If you're going to go best team in each conference, NFC and AFC, Ravens, Niners. It's funny because we have actually seen that game before. Outside of that, I used to put the Cowboys in that, but I don't know if I can. I don't really want to buy into the Bills hype yet. I need to see it maybe one more week, I think, to believe it. But ever since firing the offensive coordinator, revamping that, they're running the ball better, which has been a critique I've had of them for a long time. Pretty impressive. And then last night, Eagles, Seahawks. I think it is time to start worrying about the Eagles. This offense is not good. I mean, less than 10 yards of completion and 2 picks. No touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. He ran the ball well. But this offense is just not there. Now, the Seahawks have a good defense, have a young defense, have an exciting team. I'm impressed with them. Drew Lock. I mean, happy for that guy to lead them down at the end of the game. And it is fair that the Eagles, I mean, they're leading 17-10 going into the fourth. So they had the lead, but then give up a score and a field goal and game over, you lose. This defense is not that good for the Eagles, and the offense is sputtering. You can't run the tush-push every play. Doesn't quite get enough yards to make it happen. So, unfortunate. Unfortunate for the Eagles. They are on a bit of a skid here. I'm starting to sell my Eagles stock. I am starting to sell. I think now's the time to sell. I don't think it's going to get much better. The 49ers look like the significantly better team. I would even argue the Cowboys in some ways look like the better team. I mean, we saw it a few weeks ago. The Cowboys beat them. So, sorry, Eagles fans. I'm selling my stock at this point on the Eagles. I think they're a bit overrated even at 10-4. So, there you go. Great on the Seahawks. Seahawks-Rams kind of battle in there is going to be an interesting situation coming down the stretch. Rams currently a game up. We'll see how the playoffs work out for them. So that's it. My instant reactions for each and every game this week in the NFL. A week of answers. A week of answers, I believe, and a week where, yep, the 49ers are the best team. Yep, the Ravens are probably the best team in the AFC. The Chiefs will be okay. They're still decent. I think we got some clarity on who's going to be some playoff teams. I think the Bengals have a good shot at the playoffs. I think the Rams look like a playoff team to me. I think the Bucs look like the better team in that division. Even though both Bucs and Saints get a win, the Bucs look better to me. They just look like a more complete team, more playmakers, a bigger win. We'll see how the next weeks progress. Very curious about the Brandon Staley firing and who are they going to hire. I think that's going to be one of the big stories. Who is going to be the new head coach of Justin Herbert, and how does that work out? Honestly, I think they should have fired him last offseason and grabbed Sean Payton last offseason. I think that would have worked out better for the Chargers. I think Sean Payton would have liked working with Justin Herbert better than he likes working with Russell Wilson. A little less ego, a little less tenure, a younger guy. And I think a better roster in San Diego. Well, I keep saying San Diego. In Los Angeles. Sorry, I know. Everybody in San Diego listening is like, yeah, we hate the Chargers. They left us. Anyways, there you have it. Let me know in the comments down below who you think the best coach is for the Chargers and your opinions on teams like the Eagles and the Bills that are kind of in these opposite trajectories going forward into next week. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about all of these backup quarterbacks and why I think they're all doing well. Why we're having this a surgence of backup quarterbacks and of great quarterback play from not high draft picks, people we didn't expect it from. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, so make sure you are there, and we'll see you there.